Dentistry and General Radio Network presents
DIG's official podcast with Dr. Bob D. In this episode,
doctor buys into an optometry practice. Here's $200,000 cash. Okay, first issue is that if you pay cash, that's out of your pocket, so it's post-tax. So that for that $200,000, you had to make $320. Okay, so that's issue one, because you can finance these things and keep that cash and reinvest. The second issue is that there was no right to exit. The only way this person could exit was through retirement. That required like 2 years advance notice. So you come in with $200,000. You realize it's not for you. You say, okay, I want to leave. And they're like, well, you got to wait 2 years, keep working. They deprive you of the good work. And then instead of giving you your $200,000 back, they say, oh, the valuation of the practice has gone down. Here's $150,000. And guess what? We're going to pay you over 7 years. So I'm going to pay you $850 a month for the next 84 months. And the question is, like, how do we sue them? And no, you don't sue them. You actually should have retained an attorney.
Navigating Dental Practice Deals, Legal Insights for Buying, Selling, and Protecting Your Practice. Dr. Bob D. interviews Justin Morgan.
Hello, everyone. I'm here today with Justin Morgan. Justin is our sponsor for anything legal in the business of dentistry. And I wanted to talk to him today about the book he's written. Justin, thanks for being here. Introduce yourself. Tell me a little about yourself, and then tell me about the book.
Thanks, Bob. My name is Justin Morgan. I'm an attorney. I'm a JD MBA. I live in Los Angeles, and I work with dentists throughout the country on their business deals, right? And so I've been doing this for about 8 years, 6 years as a commercial attorney, 2 years in the dental lending space. That's how I got introduced to this niche. And then prior to that, I had spent about 5 years working in litigation and dispute resolution for large law firms. And so throughout the course over the last 8 years, I spoke to a lot of dentists, right? Doctors, vets as well, and all of them had the same types of problems. And it was a really solid footing in finance, a really solid understanding of the transaction and transition process, right? And so in addition to having all of these conversations and being consultative, a lot of times for free during our initial chats, I decided to write a book that, one, kind of is a perpetual marketing stream for me, and put down all of my thoughts about how this process transpires, right? And then I did a lot of independent research to continue to evolve my thinking, backstop it with additional information. And so what ultimately was the product was a book that was separated into 7 parts, right? And so we have the introduction that introduces a lot of really important general concepts that are important in the practice of dentistry, and more specifically, owning your own private practice. So this book is really focused towards people that are interested in owning their own business. And it's like a cheerleader who rah-rah situation, helping people get over that initial hump, right? Because a lot of times if you are from a family that doesn't have a business background, or if you don't have people in your corner that know how business is conducted, and you don't have those examples, it can be really challenging to make those initial steps because it's this massive mountain. We don't know how to start. And I found myself in that position years and years ago. And so I started to climb the hill, trying to figure out how business worked by reading as much as I could, talking to people and getting experience. And then, so it's kind of the introduction. We talk about finance concepts. We talk about opportunity cost and analyzing ideas and how the transaction search process goes. And then the second part is focused on acquisitions, right? Because this is geared, and the span of the book really is like for someone's entire career. So we talk about acquisitions, and that's going to be soup to nuts. So from looking for a practice, selecting a practice, doing the initial diligence, going through the transaction process, building your team. It talks about all of those ideas, concepts, valuations in a fundamental way, and then grounds them with real life examples that I've had through my practice of law. Part 3 is about practice sales. So we talk about the pitfalls that sellers encounter when they're thinking about selling their practice, how they should be thinking about selling their practice. Then the ways that people sell their practice is different than it was 20 or 40 years ago. So if you started in 1990 with your first practice, you may have used just a broker or a local listing, or you may have found someone in your local community. Now we have a lot more search tools. There's a lot more opportunity, and people are a lot more mobile. So there are different tools that we need to leverage to find those practices and close, or actually sell your practice as well. And so it talks about sales, prepping your practice for sale, and doing the right things to maximize value and save some headaches. Because it's really important. It's a very sensitive time for the seller. And it's very sensitive in terms of not only your emotional state, but also your financial state as well. Because there's some people that sell under duress, which is problematic. We talk about private equity sales, we talk about DSOs, and working with or cooperating with or negotiating and bargaining with like sophisticated private equity backed entities. And it's really important. We've had conversations about how deals with DSOs can go really sideways and how really detrimental that is to a doctor who thought that they were doing the right thing, they thought they were getting a great purchase price, they thought it was a great partnership. And I'll backstop this with a personal anecdote that I heard yesterday from a financial advisor. A particular doctor basically signed his entire practice away in exchange for nothing. And he was sold a dream based on someone running a DSO that apparently had management experience, so on and so forth, had convinced 5 other dentists within their church group that they could all join this DSO, and there was no money exchanged at closing. So each of these dentists signed multiple $1 million practices away in exchange for virtually nothing, right?
Wow.
So that operator could wrap that, and I could be certain they didn't even negotiate like legal terms. And so the financial advisor asked so that he could put them in contact with another attorney, and he said, "Oh no, it's okay." This is the selling document. He said, "Oh no, it's okay. I've already signed. There's 4 other dentists that have already signed in front of me, so we're all good." And you can bet that the transfer document left the doctors in like a friendly PC model, and all of the profits went to the DSO manager, right? And then who knows what it looks like upon sale. So really important, because that's not even a private equity backed player, right? That's not somebody out of New York or Chicago or LA that's sophisticated, that's trying to do the right thing, but maybe aggressive in terms of protecting their client. It's somebody that's independently operating, that heard about this industry, that heard about the upside that you can achieve if you bundle practices together, and is doing that and trying to make a bunch of money. And so it's really important that people get counsel, because we tend to get really confident, or sometimes my clients, pre-talking with an attorney, are really confident in their skills to evaluate how great somebody is. And it's like, look, that's like a sales skill. It's not like an internal like goodness of a human being. And that's a difficult thing to differentiate. So we talk about that, and then we talk about commercial real estate, we talk about buying, leasing, consequences of that. We talk about partnerships, business entity formation. Sometimes doctors get really excited about forming their first business entity, and they're like gung-ho about it. They form it like 6 years in advance, and because they want to do a deal. And this is actually a very simple thing that you can handle, or your counsel can handle. We want to do it at the right time to save you money, and we want to do it for the right purpose. And so I try to chunk it into these big batches of information that are relevant to people at all stages of their career. And so it's a short book. It's 92 pages.
You know, you and I have known each other for a while, and the reason Justin is here, I think he glanced over what he was talking about, what his background is. You have a background in litigation, you have an MBA, and you have an attorney. So I love the fact that you are a resource to our group, because although you don't do litigation now, you can advise people on, hey, this is not right. You have rights and you have things to do. For me, as someone sitting here that is very aware of laws and rules and policies and things like that, it's shocking to me when I hear a doctor does a multi-million-dollar. This is not someone who came from nothing. This is a doctor doing these deals without an attorney. It's just, I don't know. I don't get it. Please tell me you made that story up.
No, I wish I could. And I confront this on a regular basis, where doctors will go into an office, they say, oh, everybody else signed it, so therefore I'm great. And another attorney did it, and everybody's super nice. And then I get into the document, and I see, and this is across all verticals, right? Here's another example. Doctor buys into an optometry practice. Here's $200,000 cash. Okay, first issue is that if you pay cash, that's out of your pocket, so it's post-tax. So that for that $200,000, you had to make $320,000, okay? So that's issue one, because you can finance these things and keep that cash and reinvest. So I talk about that in the book, where it's like, hey, we need to be thoughtful, because this is how you accumulate wealth. It's over time, it's very boring, and you don't make missteps like using your cash when you can use someone else's cash. So that was the first issue. The second issue was that there was no right to exit. The only way this person could exit was through retirement. And retirement, thank God it didn't have an age limitation on it, but that required 2 years advance notice, which during that 2 years time, they could do all sorts of nasty things to this doctor to deprive them of the benefit of their ownership interest. And then the buyout terms were like a promissory note over 7 years. So you come in with 200 grand. You realize it's not for you. You say, okay, I want to leave. And they're like, you got to wait 2 years, keep working. They deprive you of the good work, you just do the grunt stuff. And then, instead of giving you your 200 grand back, they say, oh, the valuation of the practice has gone down. Here's $150,000. And guess what? We're going to pay you over 7 years. So I'm going to pay you $850 a month for the next 84 months. Have a great time. That's what happens, right? And the question is, like, how do we do this? How do we sue them? And it's like, no, you don't sue them. You actually should have retained an attorney and spent the $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 before, because you're making a really big investment. When you buy a house, you get 2 professional brokers on both sides that walk you through, make sure you're doing inspection. They get paid 3% of the purchase price, right? And we all pay that because we acknowledge that not getting the right inspection, not checking the foundation is a huge issue. The cost for legal services is similar.
My philosophy in life has always been spend a little bit of money up front,
Yeah.
so you don't have to worry about it later. I know I love my attorneys in every part of my life. I'm doing some kind of a trust now, and people are like, why are you spending so much money? I'm like, there's a lot of things that you need to consider. I'm not good at it. I need someone to give me the right advice. And listen, hire an attorney and do things the right way. As far as these DSO deals go, if you are happy with the deals they give you, then you're good. But at least get the right advice. And that's where Justin and his team come in. Tell me about this book. Now I'm intrigued. 92 pages, which means you can literally read this in a couple of hours and inform yourself
Yeah.
of all the things that you talked about. Being an associate, acquiring, selling. These are the things that you talk about in there, right?
Correct. We go through all the high points and the process and how much time it takes and who the players are and why they matter and setting expectations. For example, when you negotiate a lease or a lease assignment, a lot of people will say, oh, let's just wait to the last minute to tell the landlord. But then they expect that lease to be assigned right away, like everybody's copacetic. And they don't realize that there's the owner's attorney, the landlord's broker, the landlord's office man, or the property manager, all on one side. And then on the other side, you have the buyer's attorney, buyer's spouse, buyer's bank, buyer's insurance company. And so all of these parties need to work in concert for just the transfer of the lease. So I hope that the book provides enough foundation so that people start thinking about things a little bit more in advance. Because on the sell side, it can save hundreds of thousands of dollars. And so one of the concepts that I also promote during the sell side chapter is getting ready for the dance. You're not going to get to dance with the most attractive person that you want to dance with if you don't get ready for it, right? You don't show up to the dance with your shoelaces untied. And that process as a seller starts in advance. And during that conversation with the FA, for certain practices, they should be speaking with a financial advisor and financial team years in advance so they can help reduce their tax exposure, liability, think about creative strategies. Because a good FA, a good attorney, will come in and actually cause you to gain more income, right? Or save you on tax liability or exposure post-closing. So we typically should be paying for ourselves to some degree, especially in larger deals. So
Yeah, I want to bring up this idea that this book is not a do-it-yourself. You don't read this book and then say, oh, okay, now I can go sell my practice to a DSO. This is to basically a checklist, right? That what your attorney should be doing for you. This is, you're getting the information. Instead of coming to a Facebook group and ask me, Bob, I'm trying to sell my practice, what should I do? You have a reference book on your bookshelf to say, hey, this is the stuff that I need to check. Inform yourself of the topics that are there, but then hire professionals. I'm sure Justin will also advise you to get an accountant to do the financials, and it's a team. This is probably the biggest transaction you will do in your life. It's more expensive than your house probably, unless you live where Justin lives in California. But so this is what the message we're portraying here, Justin.
yeah, no, absolutely, right. And it's a reference book. It is a baseline foundation for information. It's not so long that it's overbearing. Right? I try to write it easily, and it's not repetitive. We just hit the high points and provide examples. And it's meant to be funny too. I enjoyed writing it and made it punchy and it flows quickly. So those are at least how I hope it's perceived.
Yeah, and it's $900, right? So people can have to think about buying it. It is not. It's $9.
Yeah.
People, go ahead and invest $9 so you can get some information. Justin is not doing this for income. Justin is doing it to inform people. You can hire Justin or not. That is your prerogative, but at least you have a reference and a checklist, what an attorney should be doing for you and what things you should start thinking about when you try to sell your practice. I'm in that camp right now, hopefully in the next couple of years. But also when you want to buy a practice, what to look for. These are the things that you talk about, correct?
Yeah, and owning multiple practices, establishing partnerships and how you think about that generally. I will actually be working on expanding the book. So in the next 18 months, 16 months, we'll have a print copy that will go into more depth on some of the things. Just really difficult to write a book, especially while running a full-time law firm.
Jobs, right? Hey, I want to thank you for being here today with us. Do you have anything else to add at the end?
No, let's just make sure that we provide the link to Amazon Bookstore. It's an ebook. Get it on any reader, just download it on your phone, something you can read in traffic, or if you don't live in LA, just at home.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we'll have all of those links in the caption of this video, and hopefully people can reach out to you if they have any questions. Justin's information is on our website, dentistryingeneral.com, and also in our Facebook group. Thank you very much, Justin, for being here, and hopefully we can do this again.
Thank you, Bob.
This has been a production of Dentistry in General Radio Network. Visit our website, dentistryingeneral.com, to join engaging clinical and business conversations, explore our dental podcasts, and stay updated on our upcoming live events.